Hey guys, some Gamer Dude here. So today we'll be talking about Ultra Pro sleeves pretty much for the entire thing, looking back at some older ones, how they've changed. And before we start, I just wanted to show a couple of things. So this is an older sleeve. It's focus, if we can get focus. Can we get focus? Can we? Or can't we? There we go. You see, you notice the nice lip at the top. You can't really touch the card very easy. You have to push down very far, and the sleeve gets starting to bend at that point. These are the green sleeves I was talking about. Apparently I was using them on the Joey deck because I ran out of sleeves. You hit the card really fast. It makes me feel uncomfortable. The Yu-Gi-Oh cards are a little bit thinner than Vanguard, and I bought these for Vanguard, and they definitely touch the top. I've got a set of white ones, I believe it is, for Legion Aquaforce. Same problem. So, while we're doing this part of the video, I'll also mention Ultimate Guard, because, well, I found out I did actually have one deck in Ultimate Guard still for Dragon Ball Super. Now, I think this front card's double-sleeved, but you notice here's one. It doesn't have much lip at the top. I don't like that. The card doesn't feel very well protected. It's not as high as this one. See, you line up the cards to where they hit. The Ultra Pro is a few millimeters higher. But yeah, I think the Ultimate Guards are very, very overrated. This is just a standard set of yellow. As I said, I only got, well, 79 in the pack of 80s. All the sleeves you can slightly see through. Some of them, so you can see the Yu-Gi-Oh symbol just faintly there. It's no big deal. But they feel like Ultra Pros just without the dot, and you get one less. I don't think they're as high quality as they're made out to be. And as this is all from the same packet, and if we get them all nice and lined up, yeah, there's one here that's bigger than the rest. So much for the quality of Ultimate Guard. Anyway, I'm going to re-sleeve these decks, the Speed Duel decks, into new Ultra Pro matte smalls with the new dot they've been doing recently. And we can have a talk about how Ultra Pro has changed recently and whether it's for the better or not. So we'll be back in a sec. And we're all sleeved up and ready to go, so let's begin. These new Ultra Pros are really nice. They're really flat against the top. I haven't noticed any cards that seem bigger than the others. I'm not going to get out mine because she's not really relevant, but I did this for all of them before we started. They feel really nice and flat up the top. No bumps, nothing cut too much. And the amount of lip at the top, well, I'd still like more. I still like the Yu-Gi-Oh sleeves. At least I hope they're the same. I haven't actually bought any to open lately, but I like these. I'd still like more at the top, but I like them enough. But let's talk about how they've hollowed out the dot in recent years. It looks pretty decent. Actually, the matte doesn't seem as foggy as it usually does, because it's just take Time Wizard out of the sleeve. Let's just get a comparison shot there. It's not that foggy, it's a little bit, but you'd expect that from plastic. But it's not overly so. Oh, and I have just been showing people Speed Duels, that's why I haven't actually updated the decks. I have 2 copies of each. I plan to buy a third one soon. Anyway, you can see perfectly fine behind it. It's a nice shaped sleeve. It's perfectly fine. And here's another card with very long text. You can see perfectly fine behind it. It's actually even easier on the naked eye, because the camera's making certain things show up that aren't really visible in the naked eye. So, the new Ultra Pro matte small get my tick of approval, to be honest. I haven't tried out standard from the current stuff, and I know a lot of people prefer standard. I do too, but I get what I can get. And these were what was available to me, and I needed new sleeves. but I like them. Anyway, let's just go talk about older Ultra Pro. So these are much older ones. These are from, as well as stand, as you can tell, they're from Magic the Gathering. But, and if you're wondering why it's a weird amount of different cards, it's because I play Frontier, because I play tabletop, it's affordable, why not? And it's about when I started. But they have a nice lip up the top, and the dot isn't in the most intrusive for Magic anyway. Let's just switch over for a different game, because I've got ones from a similar era here. Let's just take out one for Dragon Ball Super. Now, these ones I think are from the same era. They're about the same size. Super cards would be a little bit thicker, and they cover up information, but it's not the biggest information in the world. It's perfectly fine. Go to a double-sided card. Again, it covers up a little bit of information, but it's not the worst. And on the flip side, because I double-sided the same deal. I actually appreciate the foil on Dragon Ball Super. They look really nice. Much better than I think anyone really talks about. But yeah, old Ultra Pro were nice. There's no getting away from that. So, let's fast forward to current era. Got two decks here. One in Standard, and it's double sleeved. So, yeah, we'll talk about that one too. And one in Matte, without double sleeves. Now, this is in double sleeves because it's Werewolves. Because it's going to have a lot of flip cards. So, let's just get a card with text behind the dot. So this is 2 layers of plastic, I believe. Yes, 2 layers of plastic. You can see the inner sleeve. I think that's Ultra Pro as well. And if we can focus, there we go. Perfectly easy to see behind it. And as far as the lip goes, well, it doesn't really matter because it's in a double sleeve anyway. Maybe the argument is you should buy double sleeves because of how short they're making it. And, well, it's kind of a money-making scam. But I don't believe in using double sleeves unless you've got very, very expensive cards, which I do not. Or it's necessary because of the gimmick of the deck. You're going to keep pulling them out. And, yeah, I kind of do. Because where's something that... Yeah. Because if you're just continuously pulling it out for the other side, you're going to damage the card eventually. Although I don't think any of these cards are in the best condition, because the place I bought them from sells cards very, very cheap, but they're not in the greatest condition. Which, yes, you get what you pay for, comes into play. As for one without a sleeve, the lip is, let's get a Yu-Gi-Oh one again. Just get Harpy Lady, apparently. So we just push both down to make sure they're at the bottom. And, yeah, the Yu-Gi-Oh one is a little bit bigger, just a smidge, just a hair. Looks like it's well less than a millimeter, but there's something about the Yu-Gi-Oh one that just feels more protective. I think the plastic's a bit firmer on the matte. Maybe the matte is a little bit better quality, I'm not sure. But matte Standard then. So sorry, matte without double sleeves. So the circle is easy to see behind. And why did I put Harpy Lady back? Battleox can help us then. So we get to the lip at the top. Again, push them down to make sure they're in. And yeah, the Yu-Gi-Oh one is definitely longer. Definitely longer. This one's actually nearly a full millimeter. But yeah, that's not the greatest feeling in the world. But again, it's probably by batch because Ultra Pro has been known to go by batch. So I'm just going to quickly do something because I've got 2 packets of small sitting back for another project. I'm just going to go check them. I'll be back in a second. So strictly speaking, this isn't the most scientific thing to do, but we just got a packet of orange. It's matte as well, and it seems to be maybe a smidge small. Let's just open and get a sleeve out. Didn't really want to do this because I don't need them just yet. but luckily they're resealable packages. So we'll just get out a sleeve. Just check the size comparison. Actually, we'll use Grace for Dice as our testing. As we'll go full scientific, so yep, that seems perfectly the same. And we'll just put it in with the... That is exactly the same size. So the small seem a bit... Actually, these are two different packets of green, so they're perfectly fine too. So just, I'll put that away afterwards. And we'll just check this packet of purple I've got. So I'll just sleeve up this purple. Lip actually seems even bigger. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's actually a hair... No. Just, is it a hair bigger? Let's just, let's just exactly get them down. And yeah, I think it might actually be... Yeah, it's a hair bigger. So there is a slight deviance, but it seems to be the good deviance where they're a little bit longer rather than a little bit smaller. So yeah, I can actually recommend the current Ultra Pro. The see-through sleeve or not? I think it is. So after I'd uploaded the video you just watched, I realized it was incomplete. I couldn't leave it the way it was, especially with this right here. For there was another. I bought another set of the current batch of Ultra Pro sleeves this year. A set of standard sized matte black sleeves. And do you guys remember, well you would, you just watched it, that I made a big deal about the lip of the top of the card. If it's too short, as far as I'm concerned, the card touches the outside world, you need to double sleeve. It's bullshit. You're buying the sleeves in the first place to protect your cards. You do not want to have to buy sleeves for your sleeves because the first set of sleeves were inadequate. These you do. These you do. I'm using these as proxies in another game, so it's just got old cards from dead games in them. But get a look at that. I mean, that is unacceptable condition. And the entire 2 packets in the packet of 100 was like this. They all are too short. They are unacceptably short. They're uniform, but they're unusable without double sleeving, and I'd assume the double sleeves would come out the top at this rate. This is not acceptable as a product. This is, as I said, unusable. I said Ultra Pro has a huge amount of variance, but this is bad. This is a bad product. If I'd had the opportunity and opened it at a card store, I probably would have taken it back. Unfortunately, I didn't buy it at a card store, and because it's just being used as proxy paper fronts, I don't really care. It doesn't actually affect the intended use that much for me. But if it had been the intended use for, say, a Magic the Gathering player, a Dragon Ball Super player, what else is out at the market that's current size? Pokemon player, I'd imagine they'd be very upset by this, because this is, again, unusable. The card obviously is going to get damaged at the top unless you buy double sleeves, at which point Ultra Pro gets more money out of you because the first product you bought from them, this one, doesn't do its intended purpose. It's bullshit. Ultra Pro really needs to get on top of this. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Size ones, the small size ones, are perfectly fine now. I think they've got enough flip up the top, and the variance is in the good side of variance. The one that we found was a different size than what was acceptable levels, was bigger, which means it was better. Because we're American, bigger means better. This is the wrong side. And to be quite frank, the other 2 packets of standard sized Ultra Pros were nothing to write home about either. They were uncomfortably short. This is unacceptably short. So, Ultra Pro, if anyone from your company is watching this, get your shit together. This is not acceptable as a product. I just wish there was an alternative that wasn't Ultimate Guard here. Because Ultimate Guard is kinda just as bad, if not worse. Maybe I should just invest in Dragon Shields. Dragon Shields are very expensive. These I think are $12 to $14 depending on where you buy them. All Dragon Shields are $20, 18 to 20. There's a significant larger investment. I've never actually handled Dragon Shields, but maybe they're an option. They come with a deck box, so can't say no to a deck box too. It's a piece of cardboard, unfortunately, but what can you do? Anyway, this has been Some Gamer Dude. I hope this talk about sleeves actually incites more talks about sleeves that aren't just the professor shuffling like an idiot and ruining things, and actually talking about how many sleeves you get inside the packet, actually counting to make sure you got what was advertised on the packaging, and then talking about the size of the sleeve and the acceptability of the size of the sleeve and the variance amongst different packets. Because I'm going to be quite frank, this video came about because I'm not a huge fan of the professor and the way he handles things. I think it's not really applicable to most people that can shuffle normally. Anyway, I hope to see you guys next video.